Early on in my career, one of my biggest initial mentors was Grant Cardone. And one of the things that Grant Cardone said, I went to his closer seminar. I was selling roofing at the time. I was making maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a month. On a good month, maybe $3,000 a month. Okay. And I convinced my owner to meet with the sales rep with Grant Cardone because he was coming to Oklahoma City to talk about closing. All right. So this was back in 2011. So right now it's 2024. And one of the things that Grant Cardone talked about was he asked people, he said, selling isn't doing a masterful presentation. If you're not closing, you're not selling. If you're not closing, you're not eating. All right. This mindset, I want to talk about that story about a lion. So what he asked is, so what is stopping you? What is preventing you from closing? And he basically polled the audience. And the number one response from people was that they were afraid of being viewed as being pushy. And so Grant Cardone basically says, look, do you believe in your product, that your product is the best product on the market and is the best product that will help solve your customers' problems without a doubt in your heart? Do you believe in your heart of hearts is what he said. If you believe in your heart of hearts that your product is the best product that will solve their problems, number one. Number two is he said, do you believe your company is the best company out there to help this customer solve their problems? Do you believe that your company will be able to stay in business to be able to honor your commitments, to honor your warranties? If something goes wrong, will they come through? And if you believe that with your heart of hearts, then question number three is, do you, as a sales rep, believe in your heart of hearts that you will provide better quality service than any other sales rep at any other company anywhere else? If you really truly believe that in your heart of hearts, then you are doing the prospect a disservice by not being a little pushy, all right, in being able to go for the close and pushing them into the direction that is in the prospect's best interest. And when this went off in my mind, the thought that was going through my head was, yeah, man, I don't, because he said this, he said, because if you're not willing to be pushy and push them in the direction that's in their best interest, then somebody else will. And what happens if they go down the street and they get ripped off by some shady salesperson that sells an inferior product at a higher price, and doesn't provide the service, takes their money, robs them? That responsibility falls on you. And I kind of drew the analogy in my head that, like, if I was at a bar with a buddy, let's say you and I, we go to a bar, we go have some drinks, and you and I, we're friends, and you have too much to drink, or I have too much to drink. Is one of us going to be willing to be a little pushy, to be a little assertive, to insist that one of us gives up the keys? All right? If I had too much to drink and you and I were best friends, are you willing to get in my face and confront me and take my keys away? And what I thought was, if I'm going out with a buddy at a bar and he really had too much to drink and he shouldn't be driving, I'd be willing to punch this dude in the face and knock him out and take his keys from him, because most people aren't afraid or are too afraid to confront them. They don't want to be pushy. They don't want to be confrontational. They're too weak. All right. And then they let that person go. Now, what happens if that best friend of yours goes and gets himself into a car accident? Let's say he runs himself into a tree and kills himself. Worse yet, what happens if he runs into somebody else? Let's say it's a single mom and kills the mom or this little girl that's in the back of the car. Who's responsible? Now, you can say, of course, the guy that's drinking is responsible. But as you had the opportunity to stop it and you were too afraid of being, viewed as a jerk or whatever, to be willing to confront me, to take the keys away. All right. So I felt like I'm not going to let that happen to my customers. And as a man, our essence as masculinity is to protect and provide. So what I want to do is I want to protect my customers from having a bad experience and getting ripped off down the road. And I want to provide them the best possible service and solution to their problems. I want to help them solve their problems. Can you see why we talked about how 80% of success is psychology, 20% is mechanics, 20% are tactics and word tracks? That's why we're going to cover, like the majority of these videos are going to be covering over mindset, because I need you to have the right mindset so that you can deliver these effectively. Because if you deliver these word tracks weakly, because I'm too afraid, right? I'm too afraid that the customer is going to view me as pushy. I'm not going to go as far as I need to go. If you're not willing to do that, then these aren't going to work. So you have to have the psychology there. You have to be willing to push the prospect into what you really truly feel in your heart of hearts is in their best interest, not in your own.